As we know, triathlon is an endurance sport, and with that, it requires an element of pacing. But an Ironman or a long-distance triathlon, on the other hand, is a whole different beast. So it is vital you get your pacing right. But you may have heard of the phrase swim, overbike, walk. It is a common sight at Ironman events, but it really does not need to be that way. So today, I'm going to help you out. I'm going to be running you through how to pace an Ironman. So before we delve into each discipline, it's worth taking a step back and thinking about the race as a whole. Now, this isn't to put you off because hopefully you know what you've signed up for, right? Well, anyway, an Ironman can take anywhere between 8 to 17 hours, depending on your level. And obviously the 8 hours is referring more to the pros and the pointy end of the field. Either way, that is a heck of a long day out. So it just highlights how important the pacing needs to be. By the time you get to the run in an Ironman, you'll have been racing for anywhere between 5.5 hours to 12 hours. And then you have a marathon to complete. Now, it's never going to feel like a walk in the park, but you can certainly make it easier for yourself, more enjoyable, and improve your race time. So let's run through your pacing for each discipline. So your swim in an Ironman should be done at a steady anaerobic pace. After all, this is stage one of a rather long day, so you don't want to be burning any matches at this point and going too hard and into the red. So there are several ways of pacing yourself, including heart rate, pace, and feel. However, using perceived effort of exertion works really well because, well, trying to look at your watch during a swim is near impossible anyway. So if we use a perceived effort of exertion scale ranging from 1 to 10, 1 being easy, 10 being hard, an Ironman swim should sit somewhere in the middle of that, something like a 5 out of 10. And if this is your first triathlon of this length, then I suggest trying to think of the swim as a warm-up as opposed to a race, and that includes setting yourself a target swim time, because that just sets unnecessary pressure on yourself to perform and hit that time. And also, if you don't hit that time, then you just start the bike feeling demoralized, or worse, you try and catch up to the time that you've lost and go far too hard during the bike leg. So it's a good idea to practice this pace during your training to make sure that you're really dialed in. And this equates to around 60 to 70% below your maximum heart rate, or around 30 to 50 beats below that max heart rate. Or alternatively, you can use critical swim speed, or CSS for short. And we have already done a video on that, so you can watch that after this one to find out how to work that out. Basically, just add 5% per 100 meters to your critical swim speed time, and that is your Ironman swim pace. Now for the bike, probably the one that takes the most mental strength to pace correctly, because it's all too easy to go too hard during this section of the race. Yet it takes discipline and it takes courage, especially when other competitors are overtaking you. But it really does work, because on race day, around that 80-mile point, you'll start to see those other competitors fade and drop off, when hopefully you come flying through. And those mistakes that you want to avoid are surging during the bike, ranging from easy to hard. It creates a huge level of fatigue. Another is trying to ride at a constant power that's just a little too hard for you. And then there's the classic, riding too hard on the hills, probably due to inappropriate gearing. The best advice I've heard is to treat the bike leg like a training day. So try not to get carried away with the idea of it being a race. And if you start to feel the burn from lactate at any point during the race, then you should definitely back off. Now, power meter is a really useful tool. It's instantly reactive and it gives you a measurement of how hard you're working. If at any point you see the numbers going too high, then you can simply back off and see those numbers in real time. And if you do already have a power meter, then I suggest doing a 20-minute functional threshold power test, or FTP for short. So using your result from that, you want to pace your Ironman bike leg between 65 to 80% of your FTP. So depending on how fast you are or you're hoping to go, the higher or lower that percentage. And on screen right now, I have a rough guide of that for you. And rather than me running through each bit one by one, why don't you just take a screenshot? Yeah, go on, we'll wait for you. Just take a screenshot. Again, don't be over optimistic with these percentages. You actually find by riding at the correct intensity, you'll be able to digest drinks and energy snacks far easier, and therefore maintain your energy levels going onto the run. Now, don't worry if you don't have a power meter, because they're not the only answer. Although they are very useful, you can complete an Ironman very well without one. So I suggest using a perceived effort of exertion, and you're aiming for something between 3 and 5. I know that sounds very low, but you'll be pleased come halfway point during the Ironman. And using heart rate, or your maximum heart rate, you want to ride at something around 72 to 84% of that maximum heart rate. And those values are on screen right now for you to take a screenshot of. And obviously, the faster you're hoping to go, the higher that percentage. Okay, by this point of the race, you're going to be tired and low on energy. So getting the pacing of the run is equally as important. Allow yourself the first couple of kilometers to relax and find your rhythm. And if by some miracle you still feel great, then don't fall into the trap of going hell for leather in the first half of the run, because more often than not, this comes around to bite you. So you want to start your Ironman run around 65 to 70% of your maximum heart rate, or using perceived effort of exertion, a level 4. That does sound quite low, and it is, and that's for a reason, because you want to get through that first half marathon comfortably. And if you do feel good beyond that, you can start to gradually pick that pace up. Now, I've picked up a really good tip from Jan Frodeno, previous Ironman world champion, and that is to take your time going through the aid stations. It's a chance for you to refuel and rehydrate, but also to compose yourself and to break the race down mentally. As you can probably tell by now, Ironman racing and long distance triathlon is all about patience. So try not to get too much into that race mindset and make the day very difficult for yourself. Just relax, take it easy, and enjoy it. Now, if you like this running kit, the GTN running kit, you can head on over to the shop and grab that. If you want to see more videos from GTN, just click on the globe and subscribe. If you'd like to see our FTP, or functional threshold power video, and how to do it, just click down here. If you'd like to see our video on critical swim speed, and again, how to do that, you can see that by clicking just down here.